Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Permission from the chair. It's great honor for me to be part of you, Bill. Thank you very much. So during the next 10 minutes, I will be presenting to you my paper on changing dynamics in the Indian Ocean, geostrategic competition and challenges for Sri Lanka. I think I had many preambles to this topic yesterday. Everyone spoke about this competition, so my task is relatively easier. So let me quickly go through the Indian Ocean the theater that we talk about. This is the third largest ocean in the world, and its strategic significance has now become very important in this so-called Asian century. This ocean connects the world through an extensive network of shipping across Asia, Oceania, Africa, and the rest of the world. And therefore, development in this ocean is not only important to the littorals of this ocean, but to the world at large. And this ocean has gained importance as the energy highway of the world. And there is a new world economic order taking place or shaping upon the waters of Indian Ocean. There is no two doubts about it. We have the number 2 economy, that is China. We have the number 3 economy, Japan. We have the number 7 economy, India. All have a key interest in the Indian Ocean. And this ocean has attracted major players like India, of course, she's here, but USA, China, and Japan, and many other countries. And also, Indian Ocean is the most heaviest militarized ocean in the world, and we heard a presentation yesterday how dangerous it is because it is a nuclearized ocean as well. So practically we are sitting on a volcano in the Indian Ocean with so many nuclear weapons hidden beneath the sea. Well, there is a renewed interest by the major players, mainly mainly to counter the influence of China in the Indian Ocean. However, I do not foresee a major confrontation among the states at this juncture because everyone is right now focusing on economic development. But there is an undeclared, unofficial maritime Cold War taking place in the waters of the Indian Ocean. And not only the states are having their influence in the ocean, in the Indian Ocean, there are a large number of non-state actors, whether they can be pirates, extremists, terrorists, IUU fishers, and also the human weapon and narcotic smugglers. They all have an interest in the Indian Ocean to carry out their nefarious activities. And therefore, the freedom of the high seas and maritime security is of utmost importance in this ocean. So now let us quickly see the small island, which is only 65,000 square kilometers, Sri Lanka, in the Indian Ocean. We believe that Sri Lanka is in a key geostrategic location in the Indian Ocean. Now this location has shaped the destiny of this country, and we consider this as a key enabler for Sri Lanka. Now, however, because of this location, the Sri Lanka is trapped among the power politics or power play of the major players. Now, there is no two words that there is a geostrategic competition taking place among the major players in the Indian Ocean. Now, Sri Lanka is drawing a lot of attention, and I think we need to capitalize, we need to handle this situation very carefully. And therefore, the objective of my research was to understand this complex network of geostrategic situation and to recommend some ways how Sri Lanka should navigate to the future in this very turbulent, complex time. I use exploratory research, and I use qualitative data collection, and I use grounded theory for my data analysis. And when you look at the theories of international relations and power politics are increasingly related to economic activities in this globalized world. This research focused on finding answers. How does the interstate power relations take place in the Indian Ocean? What are the effects on smaller, less powerful states such as Sri Lanka due to this power rivalry in the Indian Ocean? How could Sri Lanka survive in this major power struggle and overcome the challenges? These are the 3 questions I wanted to answer in my research. Well, I mentioned this earlier. Indian Ocean is not merely a localized ocean, but it is part of the global maritime commons. It is lifeline not only to the countries in the Indian Ocean region, but to a large number of developed and developing countries in the world. And therefore, governing the ocean governance, maintaining a rule-based maritime order in this ocean is of critical importance. If you look at some of the major players in the Indian Ocean, obviously USA is still one of the major players in the Indian Ocean. However, their power is on a relative decline, especially in the Indian Ocean, mainly due to the rise of China and rise of India as maritime powers. China's unilateral action in the South and the East China Sea, and also the developing situation in the North Korea are two main concerns for USA. However, it is not taking place in the Indian Ocean, but Indian Ocean is not immune from what is happening in the Western Pacific Ocean. And if you look at China as a major player, they have shown a keen interest in maintaining the freedom of navigation, unimpeded access to the Indian Ocean, like many other countries, because they depend on the Indian Ocean. Now, China was compelled to come into the Indian Ocean only after 2009. They were not present in large numbers because the piracy in the Horn of Africa gave an open invitation to the world navies to come to the Indian Ocean and protect their merchant shipping. Now the piracy has gone down and the navies are still here. And China is now enhancing their strategic outlook and wishes to maintain their presence in the Indian Ocean. And if you look at Japan, it's another key player who is interested in maintaining a rule-based maritime order and freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean. They even changed their constitution in 2015 to pave the way for maritime self-defense forces of Japan to play an even more important role or more effective military role in the Indian Ocean. And they have a policy called Free and Open Indo-Pacific Strategy. When you look at India, again major player, and when you look at India and China together, both these are emerging major powers in the Indo-Pacific region. As their economic power, wealth and strategic interest expand, they come into contact, and that contact is taking place in the Indian Ocean. And therefore, the security relationship between these two powers is in a very volatile nature. Right now, mainly because of the unsettled land border, right now there is an issue in the China-India border. Now, New Delhi always perceived growing Chinese presence as a threat in South Asia, Southeast Asia, or East Africa, as a threat to their own dominance in the region. China believe they have the right to be in the Indian Ocean like any other power, and they are determined to be here. Now, Chinese project, that is the Belt and Road Initiative, the 21st Century Maritime Silk Route, is aimed at developing ports and related infrastructure in the region. And Sri Lanka likes that because we want to be a maritime hub. And India and Japan together came up with another road called the Asia-Africa Growth Corridor, and that's a counter to the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, India has a new policy called Look East, and they are increasingly looking to USA and Japan to maintain security in the Indian Ocean. Now, Sri Lanka, unfortunately, is caught up in this power play in the Indian Ocean. Now, we want to be a maritime hub in the region. We want to be the maritime and the financial hub between Dubai and Singapore. And we see Belt and Road Initiative as an opportunity, not really as a threat. Any initiative taking place in the Indian Ocean to enhance shipping will be considered as an opportunity by Sri Lanka. However, we cannot ignore the geopolitical and the geostrategic reality and concerns of major players, especially India. India is Sri Lanka's closest neighbor, most powerful navy, and the most powerful economy in the region. Now, Sri Lanka is very well within the sphere of influence of Indian maritime domain as well as air domain because of the geographical proximity to the country. So, we cannot provide military facilities to any state at the expense of India. It will not definitely go well. However, we need to leverage our geographical location and maintain unbiased relations with all stakeholders. We need to benefit from, whether it is Belt and Road Initiative, whether it is Asia-Africa Growth Corridor, we need to benefit to develop our country. So in conclusion, I would say the strategic competition by major powers in the Indian Ocean invariably put the smaller states like Sri Lanka into a strategic dilemma. India's Look East policy, USA's cooperative strategy for 21st century sea power, and Japan's free and open Indo-Pacific strategy are merging. They have found a strategic convenience and a convergence of the ocean among the three powers in the Indian Ocean. So what do I recommend? I spoke about the issues. So my recommendations are, Sri Lanka need to move away from being reactive. We have normally been reactive. When a situation is developing, we take action and then we lose the game. So we need to come out of this reactive response. I would say we need to be taking more proactive initiative. And I believe the way forward for Sri Lanka now is commercial diplomacy. More over and above the normal diplomacy, the trade and commercial diplomacy is the way forward. And we need to carefully enhance economic cooperation with major players, whether it is India, whether it is China. Our economy should be a product of these major economies in the region. And because we need foreign direct investment and we need to capitalize this moment. And we need to enhance defense cooperation and cooperative relationships with all the players, not only one particular player, but we must also not allow one player to dominate the hegemonic domination of the Indian Ocean. We need everybody. So we need to enhance defense cooperation with everyone. And we need to we should play a role in maintaining the freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean. And also we must work for regional cooperation. And also we, being in this central geographical location, should play a key role in maritime domain awareness. Easily, Sri Lanka can be the hub of maritime domain awareness. There is a presentation coming from another panelist. I'm sure he will speak about this. And also, we should focus on having a code of conduct. Now, this is our current Prime Minister has spoken about a code of conduct for major maritime users in the Indian Ocean. Why do we need a code of conduct? Someone would argue, someone would say we have UNCLOS, but even America is not a signatory to UNCLOS, and UNCLOS has survived this far. But now we need a code of conduct to be abide by the major maritime users in the Indian Ocean in order to maintain the sanctity of the Indian Ocean. And also, I believe Sri Lanka should develop our Coast Guard capabilities more and more, because there are more constabulary role is required to be performed, and also preventing pollution and preventing crime at sea in the near coastal waters. So we need to enhance more Coast Guard capabilities as a way forward in this game. So with this, I come to the end of my recommendation. These are my references. And I like to thank Pathfinder Foundation, who permitted me to carry out this research, and also Vice Chancellor and the Kotalawala Defense University for giving me this opportunity to be here this morning. Thank you very much.